So this is exactly how I went from being a professional basketball player to now making over $100,000 with my AI agency. And back then, I would eat, sleep, and dream basketball. I wouldn't do anything else. This was my only focus. I wanted to be the best there was in basketball. I wanted to reach the NBA. I just wanted to dominate the space. Okay. I wanted to be the best power forward there is. And a lot of you guys don't know this, but behind the screen, I'm actually 2 meters 10, which is about 6'11", 7 foot tall. Okay. So I really wanted to reach the NBA and I knew that I could. But like go back to when I was younger. I used to play in the US. Okay. So I actually had moved to the US. I was born in Dubai, first of all. Then I moved to Spain. Then I moved to France, then to the Netherlands, all around Europe, basically. And then for high school and elementary school, I decided to go to the US because I told my parents that from a young age, I wanted to be the best. I wanted to reach my basketball goals and I wanted to play professionally so that I could like retire my family, be that basketball player. You know what I mean? Like, and for any basketball player that's watching this, they know exactly what it is, or any sports, right? Is you work every single day, day in, day out, to become the best. I would wake up at 5 a.m., go shoot basketballs until 6:30 a.m. I would then go to school, finish school, not do my homework, go to the gym, practice with the team, get more shots up after the practice, then go home and then do my homework, go to sleep, and I would rinse and repeat that day in, day out. So I just wanted to outperform and outwork people, and I was going to become the best. Now, a little fact, and this is not at all to brag, okay, is I was actually ranked pretty high when I was playing in the US. I was ranked around like 40 to 50th in the country, basically, for my age. Okay. I was about like 15, 16 at the time, and I was pretty decent. I would say I was pretty decent because this picture that you see here is me playing professional basketball in France. Okay. Now there's a long story that goes from there. Is I was a high school student. I was playing until my 11th grade. And then something a little bit tragic happened within my family, okay, that I then had to move away from the US and I couldn't stay there any longer. So I decided I'm going to go do online school and I'm going to move back to Europe, okay? And I moved to France. Well, I first went actually to Madrid, Spain, and then I ended up playing for this team in France, which was around the COVID era. So that was when I was about like 18 to 19 years old. Okay. So between that stage, I actually had something that was not so good happen to me. I broke my knee. Okay. Now, I didn't only break my knee. This started when I was 16. And when I was 16, I had my first dislocated knee in a basketball game. I was laying there on the ground. And honestly, I don't even want to describe it because you guys probably don't want to hear that. But it was disgusting. Okay. I was laying there in pain. I had to get rushed to the hospital afterwards. And they had to basically pop it back in, and they said nothing was wrong. They said nothing happened. It was just a massive bruise and a dislocation. So I was like, okay, I can just go back to playing basketball. I'm just going to like kind of chill out for a week, not do so much, take a lot of ice baths, put ice, take some medicine just to make it better, right? Now, 1 week back into playing basketball, I actually re-dislocated my knee like 1 month after started playing. So again, at dislocation, again, my knee was really big. And I was like, what is going on? So then I went back to the doctor, and the doctor basically said that there was a piece on my bone that was basically eating away and rotting away inside of my knee. And I couldn't do anything about it. And I needed to have immediate surgery. So at 16 years old, I was already facing those issues playing basketball, and I couldn't basically do anything because I kept on getting injured. Okay, now that was at 16 years old. Fast forward to 17 years old, I now have had the surgery. I've been in bed for the longest of period, just sitting, doing absolutely nothing, and I go back to playing basketball. When I go back to playing basketball, I then experience another dislocation in my knee that then breaks basically the cartilage inside of my knee that then allowed me not to play again. So again, I needed a second surgery on my cartilage and on my knee so that it would stop dislocating. So throughout this period, I still had this hunger because I have this never quit mentality of I'm going to make it and I'm never ever going to quit playing basketball. So Fast forward another year, I'm 18 years old now, and boom, again, another surgery because the second surgery didn't go well. So now we're 3 surgeries deep, and I'm still trying to play basketball. And that's when I actually got transferred to this team, or when I joined this team. But as you see, I'm trying to play well, and if you see closely, I have like a black leg sleeve on, and I would always wear that leg sleeve just because it was like an insecurity. I have massive lines on my knee, and I hated it. But while playing basketball, I was going down. I was losing my ability to jump, to run, to be able to dunk. I used to be able to dunk, shoot, do any sort of move that I wanted to, and score all the time. And with every single surgery, it kept on getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And eventually, I just decided, you know what? Fuck this. Because I was only going to keep on failing, and I was only going to get worse and worse. You know, when your brain tells you one thing, but your body doesn't want to move forward with it? That's exactly what was happening to me. And I was losing my mind because I couldn't achieve what I wanted to achieve. I couldn't get to the level that I wanted to get because my mind told me I could reach the NBA, but my body couldn't. I couldn't jump. I couldn't run as fast. I couldn't play defense. I couldn't play offense. Like, it was just going down the drain. And I had to take a hard look at myself in the mirror and go, Kieran, are you going to become rich? Are you going to be able to take care of your future family? Are you going to take care of your family by still playing this professional level that you're playing right now? Now, keep in mind, guys, this professional level is pretty decent. Like, you get paid like 3 to 4 grand a month. They pay for your apartment. They sometimes give you a car. So it's a pretty like relaxed life, I would say. But you're dedicating your entire life towards sports when eventually you're gonna have a injury like mine, maybe, or you'll be like 35 years old and then you're going to have to retire. Right? If you do not reach the top of the top and you're not making those millions of dollars or just underneath it, like, what is the point sometimes? Because you're not necessarily going to make more money or be able to do much with it because all your time is spent on practicing. Okay. And that's when I made the hard decision to quit. Now, when I quit, I had to move out of my apartment. I had to leave my apartment and move in to a 1 bedroom apartment where you see all of my shoes and my cupboards behind me with all of my stuff. Okay. I look like a complete retard. Well, I kind of still look the same, but I look like a complete retard putting my thumb up like that because I had no direction in life. And if you can see, I have League of Legends open on the tab. I used to be then a massive gamer. So basically, I took my talents from playing basketball to becoming a massive gamer because I had no direction in life. I had lost all of my direction. I had no idea where I was going or what I was going to do. And I was living in this apartment. Now, I don't like speaking like this because I don't come from the trenches, right? I don't come from like nothing and all of this. But I do come from when I moved into this apartment, I didn't have any money. I had nothing to my name, and this apartment had a bunch of mold behind the walls that I didn't know of. Because when I moved into it, they had just painted over the walls with new paint. So I still had the paint smell, and I didn't know that there was going to be massive amounts of mold behind it. So eventually, I started having headaches day in, day out. And I was like, why am I having so much headaches? Why can I not concentrate? Why can't I do anything? And then eventually I told it to the person and they said, yes, I had someone come over and test it and there was mold basically everywhere. So I was getting sick at that time. Okay. And it was really, really bad. So I had to make a drastic change. And I would say that this is the defining period of who I am today. This is why I am the person that I am today. Because when I had to quit basketball, I lost my apartment, the car, and the money that I was earning. So I basically went to complete zero. I had to move into an apartment that was like 400 euros a month because I had nothing else to my name. I didn't have any savings. I didn't have anything. And I had basically nothing. And that's why I have this picture up here. Is because it was basically my last 100 euros. So what I decided to do was basically buzz cut the hair and go, you know what? I need to figure out a situation on how I get out of here, how I'm going to save myself from this current situation, because I cannot stay the same person forever. Or I'm going to stay broke and I'm going to do absolutely nothing with my life. And this is the moment that hit me. And I think that everyone should experience a moment like this. Everyone should experience a moment where reality hits, where you're like, holy fuck, I'm a failure, or holy fuck, I'm not doing it correctly, or holy, I'm going in the wrong direction. What am I doing with my life? I was partying at this moment. I was going to raves. I didn't take drugs, but I was around it. Um, I was around a lot of alcohol, like a lot of bad energy, right? Like really, like very, very bad energy. And how do you become a better person? So this had to hit at this time. I had to become someone else. So one night after drinking a lot of alcohol, I was laying on the couch in my brother's house. And my brother woke up and he was like, "Bro, you okay? Like, you don't seem all right." He could vividly remember, he was like, "Bro, I thought you were going to die that night because of how much you drank." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know what I was doing or where I was going, but I was drinking." So someone could have slipped something into my drink or something like that because I was surrounded with the wrong people at that time. And I needed a reality check. And that's when it hit me. I was like, I'm a failure. I can't play basketball. I can't reach the NBA. What do I do now to become something of my life? And that's when I actually met my today fiance. Okay. Now, a lot of people always say, don't meet girls, don't look at girls, don't get in relationship with girls when you are young or when you're trying to start something or when you're trying to start a business. I don't agree. Okay. Because I feel like if you find the right person and it's the right one, she is not only going to help you achieve the dreams that you want to do, she's going to push you and you're going to actually reach higher heights than you think are possible because you have the right person in your corner pushing you forward. If you're always alone, when you get sad, who do you go to? When you get depressed in what you're doing, who do you go to? And I always had her by my side. I'm a big believer in if you have the right woman, if you have the right person, she's not only going to help you become a better person, but she's also going to help you succeed in whatever you want to succeed in life. And I stand by that day in, day out. It's now been 4.5 years. She's now my fiance, and we're actually going to have a little kid together. But I highly believe that if you find the right girl, it is the most important thing in this entire world because us as men, we should be providers. We should be making families. We should be those type of men that you saw back in the day who would go to work, come home, take care of their families, and actually provide. And I stand by that and I live by that because that is essentially what has pushed me. She wasn't the one that made me who I am and who I am successful, but she was the one who was always by my side, pushing me to become that person that I wanted to become. So indirectly, she was my backbone, right? She was the person that helped me grow and scale and do my actual project and business that I wanted to achieve. Because when at one stage, when I was going all in, and I'll explain that after, she actually worked a job when I didn't work a job. And that shows the power of strength of a good couple. And if you guys are in that stage, I highly recommend you fight for it. If you don't have someone, it's not a problem at all either. But that's what I experienced and that's what I went through. So I then had to find myself a job. Now, I don't have a picture up here from another job that I worked at, but I used to work at UPS. Okay, so I worked at UPS for 3 months, and then I eventually worked at an airport job handing out chocolates to people walking by. So it's very funny because now I actually take a lot of planes, but before I would just stand there for 8 to 10 hours a day handing out chocolates to people taking flights. I would see all types of people. I would see people going to see their families. I would see the same people walk through the airport every single day. Every week, I would see the same guy, and I started becoming friends with a few of them. But I was like, but these guys are living their life on their own terms. They're flying over there, they're doing whatever they want, they live their life however they want to live it. And this was probably the worst thing that I've ever done, I would say. Like, it wasn't that bad, but it was just so boring that, like, it was awful. But one thing that it did allow me to do was to grow my AI agency. So I started growing my agency at this period because of the work and how the work was structured. So I would actually go and walk into the bathrooms and make cold calls for my business and work on my business while being at work with my phone. Every single time in like break times, I would sprint to the bathroom, take calls, text people back, and all of that, right? But this work allowed me to kind of break out from what I was doing. So it did pay me money. It did allow me to move into a better apartment. So I'm still very, very thankful that I actually had this job, because without this job, I would be nowhere. I would maybe still be that same person on the side doing absolutely nothing, playing video games. So this job did allow it. And I would work basically the entire day, and then I would come home and sit behind this PC. And I have a big smile on my face because I see my logo from my business way back. I see like the Zoom open. I see my, this is just so nostalgic for me, because here is where I sat day in, day out. I would go to my job, I would come right back home, I would eat, and I would cold call. I would cold call until I couldn't keep my eyes open. And then I would go to sleep, go back to my job, and then I would answer those cold calls or book those meetings while at my job in the bathroom. I would be walking to the bathroom, walking back in, like taking these calls, answering people while being at work. So this work allowed me to pay for what I was trying to achieve. It allowed me to pay to move into a better apartment, because then I didn't have to be in that moldy apartment. And that job allowed me to cold call my ass off without needing to stress too much about the money. But I still didn't have much, right? I was still breaking even every single month because I had to maybe buy softwares, pay for the calling, stuff like that. And I was trying out things, okay? But eventually, it actually started to work. I put in so much volume that it was impossible for me to fail. And I just quoted Alex Hormozi because he said this in one of his podcasts, is do so much volume that it's impossible to fail. And for some reason, I've always lived by this. I've always said that, and I've always done it. Is volume will make you succeed whether you like it or not. Ask yourself this: are you putting enough volume to actually succeed with your business today? Are you actually putting in the time that you need to put in to succeed with your business, yes or no? And if that answer is yes, you can do more. If that answer is no, you can do more. And trust me, I could have even done more, working my ass off to cold call to sign my first client. And all it took was to sign my first 1 to 2 clients to have that snowball effect. So I told myself, if I put in enough volume and I outwork every single other person cold calling these same businesses, I will eventually succeed and I will make it and I will outcompete everyone. And that's exactly what I did. And exactly what I did allowed me to, within a month's time, basically generate 3,259 euros, which is about $4,000 if I'm not mistaken. Okay, at that time. That allowed me to close 3 clients for my AI agency. And that was like a long time ago. Now, this is super nostalgic because this was the first screenshot I took, but this work was not for nothing. Like this setup right here, guys, this is what allowed me to get this. And that snowballed my entire agency. That took it from 0 to 4K to then 10K to now being at 100K. And I'll explain that in just a second. But this initial first client of mine allowed me to do everything. So you see here that I closed 3 clients, but you don't see that I actually closed a client on a complete performance basis. So he didn't pay me anything up front. He would only pay me for every single lead that I got him or every single appointment that we actually closed for him or that he would close. But this client didn't pay me any money, okay? I worked with him for 2 months and he didn't pay me anything. But what it did allow me to do was it allowed me to show potential prospects that I was cold calling and having meetings with that this stuff actually does work because they were generating leads, generating appointments. So then people believed me and I could sell with more conviction and with more confidence. And that's exactly what I did. And that's why I started my snowball effect. So if you can like get your foot in the door with just one client, that one client will carry your entire agency journey because that's all you need to get validation, proof of concept, and just get your foot in the door. And that's exactly why I am here where I am today, because I'm still thankful for having that client that didn't pay me. Yes, was it a failure? Yes, it was. But from every failure only comes success. And let me say that one more time. You have to fail 30 times before you even get one piece of success, maybe even 100 times. The amount of no's that I got on cold calls was crazy, was insane. It was absurd, the amount of no's that I got on cold calls, but you had to stick through it because if I didn't stick through those cold calls, I wouldn't have gotten to where I was today. I would have not gotten that client on a performance deal, and I would have not signed 4K in a month from my agency. Now, before this, I was actually struggling a lot because I couldn't close a single client for an entire year. And for one entire year, I was trying to cold call, trying to close clients, but I didn't know necessarily what was going wrong. I didn't know, like, what did I do wrong that other people were doing right to close clients? And then eventually I was like, my sales process is really bad. I don't know how to sell. And I was sitting here going, I don't know how to sell. I don't know how to do anything. And that's when I found myself a closer job. Okay. So I started working as a closer for another agency. And inside of that agency, I started closing deals. Okay. I wasn't the best, but I wasn't the worst. I got an opportunity, but that opportunity is what created me today. Now, unfortunately, that person that was running that agency kicked me, right? But he kicked me pretty fast and without much of a notice. But what that did allow me to do was get to this point that I was at that day because I learned sales, and from him kicking me gave me more hunger to be able to succeed. So I succeeded faster because I actually failed at something else that then allowed me to have success inside of my own business. So that shows again, guys, what I was saying before is from failure comes success. You have to fail millions of times before you start seeing any sort of success or any sort of clients closed. And then it started snowballing for me. I started booking meetings like 4, 5, 10 meetings on a single day, right? Every single day I had meetings to the point where I was like, I can't go to work. I need to drop out of work. Well, I need to quit my work. But I was like, if I quit my job, how am I going to succeed if I don't have that extra 2,000 euros coming in that was funding basically my apartment, my life? I had a car at the time. Like I had all of these expenses that would equivalent to like 1,400, 1,500. So I had a heavy weight on my shoulders of like, I need to get going for my business. I need to actually make this money so that I can succeed in life itself. But my agency was snowballing and I was getting a shit load of meetings because I was cold calling and doing the right things. But then I actually figured out a more leveraged position where I actually had my so-called mentor, if you want to. It wasn't necessarily a mentor. I had this one guy basically explain to me exactly how to run paid advertising. So those paid advertising looked exactly like this. Now, we spent a lot over the time being, but that allowed me to boost my agency and start making money month after month. Okay, so then I had that first peak of that 3,000, and I made another 3,000. Then here it just dipped because I was still inside of the month. But on my third month, I actually made 10K with my agency. So I finally hit that 10K mark, and I finally hit that moment where I was like, shit, I finally succeeded. I'm finally there. I can now go ahead and drop out of my work, quit my work, and forget about it. But it was a massive risk because 10K inside of your agency while spending on ads is not 10K profit. And that 2K profit from your job is clean. It's clean profit. Like, you didn't have to do anything. Well, you had to work for it, but like it was clean profit. You would be able to take home and spend that on whatever you wanted to spend it on because you knew that the next month it was guaranteed that you were going to get that money, right? And inside of an agency, you are never 100% sure with your business. And that's why you have to grow it to a certain amount. But I was also spending on ads and taking massive risks. So then that night, I actually sat down with my girlfriend at the time. I told her I'm going to quit. And like I said before, she was 100% behind me. She said, Kieran, she didn't have a job at that time, but she found herself a job, which was funny because she actually went to go work at the airport that I was working at because I gave her my job. Now, I gave her my job and she said, I'm going to work here until you become very successful and then I'm going to quit that job because I didn't want her working there either. And then we came to the conclusion, we were like, okay, deal. Within 1 month's time, I basically cracked the 10K mark. I actually cracked the 20K mark and I started my YouTube channel that you guys are watching right now. And that's where everything took off for me. And that's where my life completely changed. And she quit after like 2 months of working there because everything started to take off and I could provide for both of us and actually do what I wanted to do. I finally succeeded from being like a deadbeat professional basketball player living in a shitty apartment to now being like, shit, I'm actually seeing life-changing money, like 10, 20, 25K per month inside of my bank account, I was like, wow, life is changing fast. And that's when I started to travel. So if you look on my YouTube channel, you can see that I traveled a little bit everywhere. I went all over the world. I went to Croatia, where I actually met one of my very good friends, Jan. I went to Bosnia, where I met Abdullah and Enver. They were actually in my program. I then started traveling a little bit everywhere. So over here, I was in Albania just working. This was Antwerp, Belgium. So I was in Belgium at this time with these two pictures as well in two different apartments. So this was in like a nice penthouse where I was with my friend Kenan as well. And this was another apartment that was very, very nice where I was able to work in. And I was able to just go from Airbnb to apartment for the entire year, meet new friends, meet people that I really got along with, and really grow my business because I finally became the online entrepreneur person that I wanted to be. I finally became the person that was able to achieve what he set out for his goals. Now, I haven't uploaded the picture here, which is sad, but I actually made a tweet in 2023 that I will put on my Instagram story right after I post this video. Is I tweeted in 2023, if I'm not mistaken, my goal is this year, within 1 year, to be at 20K per month with my brother, and I'm going to post a tweet. But I tweeted it because I knew that if I would write it down, I would manifest it and I would succeed. And I also written it down on a piece of paper that I'll also put on my story because these things is what I manifested. I manifested being able to travel, being able to go places, being able to see the world with my own business and actually succeed within my own business. I was able to go to Venice, as you guys see over here. Over here, this was Albania as well. Very nice Airbnb. This was in Turkey with two of my friends, Sam and Evan, that were in my program and then became some of my best friends to this day. Like, all of this traveling and meeting these like-minded friends, these like-minded people only allowed me to grow my business more because I did manifest it back in the day. I told myself that I was going to be successful. I told myself that I wasn't going to allow failure as an option and that I was going to see the life that I saw online work. I always saw all of these people online making millions of dollars, having Lamborghinis, having Rolls Royces, nice ass watches. And I was like, how are they doing it? How are they living that life? How are they actually posting these type of screenshots? How are they allowing themselves to travel everywhere they want? They could wear whatever clothes they wanted. They could buy whatever they wanted. I was like, I want to be like those guys. And I sat out and I told myself, I'm going to succeed. I'm going to see where this is going to bring me. And I'm going to eventually make it on the online space. And I believe that anyone can make it if you just put in enough volume and you don't quit and you find the right guidance at the start, because that's what I should have done and what I needed. Finding the right guidance only allowed me to scale faster and be the person I am today. And that is eventually what allowed me to actually propose to my now fiance that I'm actually having a baby with. That's going to be very, very soon. And I'll update you guys on that. But I'm very happy because then I was eventually able to do the thing that I set out to do, right? I felt like that woman was the right one for me. She helped me in very, very, very hard times where we both didn't have money, where we both had to sacrifice a lot. And she also helped me in good times. And if, like I said at the start, if you find the right person to be by your side that allows you to be able to scale your business like this, to be able to travel, to be able to make money online, to be able to do everything that you set out to do, you should ask her to be your fiance 100%. And that is what my agency allowed me to do, is to eventually ask my fiance to become my wife. And now I'm going to actually have a baby with her. And I'm super excited because I'm finally, the manifestation that I did back in the day, the manifestation that I set out for myself that I wanted to achieve, that I wanted to do, is finally upon me. I'm finally where I wanted to be so long ago, where I wanted to achieve these things, where I wanted to have children, where I wanted to have a wife. I want to have a big house. I want to have nice cars. Like, these things are the things that I want. And these things are the things that I set my mind out to achieve. And a lot of you guys don't know this, but I'm a big manifester. I sit at night, I write down on a piece of paper, I really visualize what I want to achieve in life and who I want to become. Because without visualizing and without manifestation, you won't become anyone. You have to see it. You have to see it in your eyes, in your brain. You have to be able to believe it and see it to achieve it. If you don't, you will never get there. If you're like, oh, why are all these online people making so much money? You will never get there if you don't actually visualize yourself in their shoes. If you visualize yourself driving that Lamborghini, if you visualize yourself achieving the things that you want to achieve, you will never get there otherwise. So start today, start visualizing what you want and what you want in life. And that's exactly what I did. And I went and got it. And that is what I'm trying to install into your guys' brain today is go and get stuff. Go and get what you want to achieve. And that's what I did. And from there, honestly, my business has allowed me to live my dream life and still is allowing me to live my dream life. I'm being able to invest into stocks. I'm being able to invest my money into places where it's compounding, where I'm able to then take care of my family later on. I'm now living in Switzerland. The life is becoming really, really nice because I took a risk 2 years ago. And then that's what allowed us to scale to $104,000 per month with our agency. Now, after we actually were able to scale to that, and before that, I decided that I wanted to give back and I wanted to help other people in my shoes that were also trying to start their AI agencies or trying to grow their agency in general or grow their SMMA or grow anything that they were trying to grow. I wanted to help them, right? And that's what I set out to do is I built a mentorship where it wasn't a course, where it wasn't a program, where it was a complete one-to-one mentorship with myself, where people would hop on calls with me, ask questions, get help, and really scale their agency. And that's why I have so much success rate is because I'm one of the few that is still running my agency to this day, making over $100,000 per month with the agency and helping others do it as well. And I'm very, very proud of my product because there's a lot of people on the online space that don't run their product correctly, that don't actually get results. And I'm one of the very few that I would say with the utmost confidence, I get people results and I'm very happy with the people inside of my mentorship because I've actually made some of my best friends from this mentorship. I have made relationships with people that I will consider them my friends for life. Some of my best friends for life are inside of my mentorship because they are on the same path and on the same wavelength as I am. Now, then we took trips and we took masterminds together. And these masterminds would have not been possible if I would have not started my mentorship. And we went to Switzerland, we went to Marbella together. I'm going to go to other places with them as well. And it's just nice because we brought all these entrepreneurs and all these like-minded people into the same room so that we could all succeed together. And these are my friends for life. I promise you guys, this is part of my story because these are the friends for life. These are the people that not only have I helped scale, but they have helped me in return become a better person, become a better man, and become better in my product. And these people are the people that I really, really admire and respect because they're the same wavelength as I am. And I respect every single one of them. And I want to see success for everyone. And we're going to do many more trips. So if you want to come on these trips, there is a link below to join my mentorship or to join the free group that you can jump into if you guys do want to, okay? But let me keep going because this is what has changed my life. Like this entire story of mine is what has changed my entire life from start to finish. I was able to achieve what I wanted to achieve. I was able to see and manifest what I wanted to manifest and achieve. And it's all correlated to me starting my AI agency 2.5 years ago now. 2.5 years ago, I struggled. I wanted to become a professional basketball player. God decided that I wasn't going to be one. And I always questioned God. And I was always like, God, why me? Why are you making me have so many surgeries? Why are you allowing the world to push me down like this? And why me? And I always asked that question because I was like, you can't be serious. Why do I have 4 knee surgeries at such a young age when I wanted to become the best basketball player and I wanted to become the best? And I sat down with myself and I was like, you know what? This might be a sign. This might be a sign that I'm better and I'm built for something else. And that something else is the person that you are watching today and you are seeing right now. That someone else is the person that I have become within these 2.5 years, from having so much failure and so much pain, is the person that you guys see in front of you today. Every single entrepreneur has to go through pain, has to go through failure, has to go through a massive, massive drought period of just pure pain. But from that pain comes so much bliss, comes so much happiness. There is so much that comes out from you just going through pain for 1 year. All you have to do is go through pain for 1 year. And I guarantee you, after 365 days, you come out of that pain and be a completely different person because you dedicated yourself to one thing and one thing only. You actually pushed through. You actually became the person that you've written down, that you visualized, that you manifested, and you achieved what you needed to achieve in life. You decided that no one was going to hold you back, that no one was going to allow you in that corner. You didn't care about your family's thoughts or family's opinion or friends or cousins. You decided on that day to go all in and to actually achieve what you wanted to achieve. And that's exactly what I did. And that's exactly why I'm where I am at today. And that's my entire story, guys. That is my story from going from a professional basketball player to basically being broke to now making over $100,000 with my AI agency. And I want to teach as many people as possible how to do it as well. So if you want it, just join my free community below. Join my mentorship if you want to join it, but just join the free community, hop on the free group calls. I'll be helping you guys, trying to give back as much as physically possible. And I hope that you guys enjoyed my story. I'll be making another one that's maybe even more in detailed later on in life. And maybe, who knows, I might be way further. I might be at $200,000 per month. I might be at $500,000 per month. Who knows? Because a lot can change in 2 years, guys. In 2.5 years, I became $1 million business a year. What can I do in the next 2 years? Can I 10x it? Because I 10x the income that I was making before. I even 20x the income that I was, no, even 100x the income that I was making before. If I can 100x the income that I'm making now, how much is that, right? Always remember, guys, it only takes 365 days to actually become something of yourself. You only become something great if you go through failure, if you keep on pushing and you never, ever quit.